Welcome to the Mega Marketing Workshop. The value that you're going to get from this video is I want to help you make making content easy. In this day and age, even when you run paid ads, content is a necessary thing to do. And it actually can be something that's not only fun and creative, but it helps you grow your business. So what I wanted to do in this video and in this training is make content fun, easy, and efficient for you as a business owner. I'm not a big fan on becoming a big content creator, especially when you're trying to get from that zero to that first $100,000 a year in your business. You need to do content, but you need to be efficient. You need to focus on revenue generating activities. So in this video, I'm going to make it super simple and super easy for you. This is a call recording from a group call that we did. What I wanted to do was in the group call, there was long 1, 2, and 3 minute pauses because I gave the group time to actually do the things. I edited those out so that we could make this video, obviously a bit faster. There was Q&A at the end, but it wasn't related to the workshop, so I cut that out. Basically, when you watch this video, you'll see in the document that I shared, there's little highlighted words that say power work. So if you're watching this video and you're kind of watching it passively, that's totally fine. But what I'd recommend you do, come back to it, watch it, and actually do the power work that we talk about. Because at the end of the video, if you actually do the power work that we discuss, you're going to get a ton out of this. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's hop into the training. Let's get it. We're going to be doing what I'm calling the Mega Marketing Workshop. What I want to do though, is I wanted to make this a good amount of information, but also extremely applicable. And I didn't want to waste time with too much information that you wouldn't need. So we're going to dive into a few different things. My goal for the end of this is a few things. One, you guys get massive amounts of clarity on how to build your brand, but you guys know I'm not a big brand guy. I'm more of hey, let's book calls. Let's book calls, close calls. Let's get great at sales. Let's get clients. But how do we use our content to help us do that? And how do we do it without wasting time? And how do we do it efficiently so that we make content that's great, build trust, but we don't become full-on content creators because you can waste your time with it. So we're going to do it'll be you guys will take notes, but then also it's interactive. Every single one of these steps has power work that we're going to do right now live. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to share with you guys, this is a really interesting topic that I got put onto a while ago from another entrepreneur. His name's Graham Cochran. And he talks about the 4 levels of knowledge. And what are they? So the first is called tactics. That's the lowest level. Okay. Essentially, your tactics basically is the techniques of what you do, essentially. Okay. So for example, for me, or for music production, with my Rapid Fire Music Academy, one of the techniques was hey, when you record your vocals, you should have EQ and compression and a de-esser on your vocals while recording. That's a technique. That's a technique, right? Hey, here's how you compress, right? That's a technique, okay? When Danny explains the parts of the face that you want to be focused on, that's a technique. A strategy is the reason behind the technique, the reason why behind the technique. The reason you want to put an EQ and compressor and a de-esser on your track while recording is because when you're done recording, you can have your vocal already sounding really good, like it's in a pro studio. That's the strategy. Pre-mixing your vocals. Okay, it's the why behind the technique. That's the next level of knowledge. Principles. How do I explain principles? Principles would really be the why behind the strategy. But let's do this. Let's actually come up. When I don't know how to explain something, because I'm not the smartest person of all time, I like to just look up the definition. So let's look it up. What does the word principle mean? A fundamental truth. There we go. Perfect. A belief. I love that. A fundamental truth, belief, or rule that serves as a foundation for a system, behavior, reasoning, or operation. That's a really good definition. Let's put that in here. That's a principle. Now, the top level of knowledge is wisdom, which only can come from your personal experience. This is all of this is your unique twists, but wisdom is really like, this is how I learned this. This is why it works from what I've seen. Now, I want to pause here on the wisdom part. Tactics and strategies, although are very important, everybody has tactics and strategies. We all have unique principles, but you only have your experience. You only have your wisdom. You are not going to be able, chances are, you're not going to be able to tell someone a tactic that they haven't heard before. Chances are a strategy, I'm sure someone could prove me wrong, but chances are you're probably not going to be able to say a strategy someone hasn't already heard. Principles. You might have different beliefs, but it's pretty likely you probably share some kind of a belief with somebody else. It's very, 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 very hard to be like a one of one with a principle, with a belief. But wisdom is the only thing you have that's only you. You guys ever heard become a category of one or category of zero? Have you ever heard that? This is how you do it. You explain your wisdom. I'm the only one with my story. I'm the only one who's been 25K in debt to 20K a month, worked 3 jobs. These were the exact 3 jobs. This is the coach I met. This is what that story that I have. I'm the only one with that story. That's the only thing. So here's what I want you guys to do right now. And I want you to think, we're going to think and then we'll do. I want you to talk about tactics. You can talk about that. I want you to talk strategy, principles, wisdom. Talk about all of it in your content, all of it. If you talk about any of it too much, like if you just talk about your experience, might not be a lot of value. And if you only talk about principles and strategies or only tactics, probably not going to be very good. What I will say with confidence and certainty, most people on the internet who create content default to tactics. Would you guys agree with that? 3 ways to, 5 ways to, it's all tips and tricks. You're not going to grow a business doing just tactics. I'll tell you that much. You're not going to get high ticket clients doing that. It's going to benefit you a ton to be able to put all 4 of these together. You can also have a whole piece of content that's just a wisdom piece of content. This is just a story, just a print, right? You know what I mean? But you want to really weave everything together. So the power work for us to do right now, live here, I want you to just write, just for right now, just one tactic, one strategy, one principle, one piece of wisdom that you have, just one. Now, as you're doing this, and I'll shut the heck up to give you guys space to think, right now, I only want you to do one for the sake of time, but in reality, you really should just put as many bullet points as you freaking can. Like the most tactics you can possibly think, all the strategies, right? But for now, just write down one. What I would recommend you do is kind of make a list of all these different things for yourself. That way, when you want to start making content, you'll know things to pull it from. Okay. So let's go to the next part of this, which is brand. And this is new for me. Not branding, but like this idea of branding is quite new for me. And I don't know if you guys know who Caleb Ralston is. He's apparently the guy, the genius behind Gary Vee's personal brand, Alex Hormozi's personal brand, and many others. And he's got like a 6-hour video on YouTube. It's insanely valuable. I've only watched like the first 30 minutes, but I got something out of it that's really changed my life, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So the first thing is he defines brand, and I actually have it written down here. So I'll read the definition really quick for you. But basically, he defines brand as association. But let me give you more in depth as to what exactly he said, which was the intentional pairing of relevant things done consistently. The intentional pairing of relevant things done consistently. Association. associating things. Now, here's the deal, guys. Our brands, our ideal clients are identifying our brands, whether we want them to or not. They're already figuring out what we're doing, or they're already defining what we do. We might as well be intentional about it. So, what I've done personally is I've done two things that have helped me a lot. I pick one word and I write one sentence. Here's what it is. My one word, what is the if I could have people associate my brand with one word, what would it be? Mine is freedom. Now write one sentence. You know, it doesn't have to be an exact like my brand is the it's just more of like expanding on that one word. For me, it's when I say freedom, I mean freedom of time freedom, location freedom, money freedom, freedom from expectations, freedom from algorithms, freedom from the music industry, freedom from Spotify, freedom from record labels, freedom creatively. And that's the most important is freedom creatively. My thing is I want to feel creatively free and I want my clients to feel creatively free. So when you watch my content, I want you to feel free. Everything I do is associated with freedom. So really simple, just starting there. What's the one word? Now, I'm going to take one word away, even though I just said freedom and now I'm giving you a constraint. The only word you can't use is authenticity. Because I was going to use the word authenticity. I was like, authenticity. But then I thought about it. I was like, dude, that doesn't count. Everybody's brand is supposed to be authentic. So you should all be authentic. But what's your one word?
Story or like storytelling.
Storytelling. Okay, cool. Love that. Anybody else? Danny?
I would say, I have like a list of a few, but I'm gonna just mention that biggest one that comes to mind, expressive.
Cool. Yeah, and take your time. That's actually really smart of you to have like a huge list and then maybe narrow it down.
Yeah. Well, can I mention like
And by the way,
three?
like, go ahead.
Can I mention three? Like,
Danny, you know what? You could do anything you want. This is just a fun exercise. You don't act, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, for sure.
okay, expressive, connected, freeing, and artistic. No, 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 not artistic.
Four
Freeing,
words.
connected, or expressive. All right, fine.
I
It's four.
love that. Dude, I don't care. You can have three. Go ahead. Change the rules. I just made this up. I'm not the, you know, I'm not the big old genius. Like, you know, you guys, if you're like, hey, I want my brand to be associated with three words, I'm gonna be like, great, dude, that's sick. Four words, whatever. Love that. We're not gonna do the one sentence right now, but you guys can do that on your own. All right. Okay. Next up, this is very, very like tactical pillars, right? Having 3 to 4 content pillars is huge. Why? Basically, what you want, guys, is it's kind of interesting. One thing I've learned is discipline creates freedom. Constraints create freedom. Wait, I got a better one. Discipline creates freedom. Constraints create clarity. What? I just made that up. I don't know if that's true. But basically, what I'm trying to help you guys do, I don't know if you guys are seeing this. Content can feel like a all over the place thing, and it can feel like you're given a blank white piece of paper and somebody's like, paint me a picture, and you're like, whoa, I don't even know how to do that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make it where you're just coloring in the lines. I'm trying to give you a piece of paper that literally has it drawn out. Just color in the lines. That's what I'm trying to make this. That's what you should be doing with your content. That's what great content creators do. That's what business owners that have to create content do to create content. They don't just wake up and go, what should I post today? No freaking way, dude. You think Alex Hormozy is doing that? You think these big dogs? No, right? Like, no way these guys are doing that. They're dialed so they don't waste their time. So we want to come up with 3 to 4 content pillars that you can always talk about. And you know what's great? Mine are the pillars of my offer. Probably what yours are going to be. Take your offer and take the 3 pillars, and that's your content pillars. Shocker. So mine are offer, marketing, sales. For off, I mean, there's tons of more things under each of them, but for offer, pricing, scalable one-to-one coaching, tangible end result within specific time frame, broke versus rich messaging triggers. Those are all things in the offer. Marketing, ads and content, sales, DMs, call booking process, and sales itself, right? There's obviously more I could expound on, but that's what my content pillars are. And then my final one, I would actually say, is I could call it freedom lifestyle, right? Because I want to be associated with freedom, right? So I could be time with my wife, gym, family, traveling, basketball, right? Things that I like to do outside of the actual business and music, right? So that's what I usually would want your fourth pillar to be, would be like your lifestyle. What is it in your life that makes people that is unique to you? That's why when I go to those high school basketball games, I post myself being there. I want people to see me there so that they know, oh, like he likes basketball. So for anybody who likes basketball, they're like, I like basketball too. So does Lee. That's cool. You know, I want to post me doing my little front squats because people who hit the gym, they're like, oh, he hits the gym too. Oh, he goes to the gym when he doesn't want to go to the gym. That's cool. That's inspiring. I like that. You know, that's the reason we do all those things. That's why if you guys see me drinking my little water with my little apple cider vinegar, all that, it's like I want you guys to see like that I take care of myself, that I care about myself, so that you can see that I'm someone you would want to work with. But also maybe if in your brain you're like, oh, I want to take care of myself. Like I'm on my fitness journey too. So is he. I relate. That's what builds trust. That's what builds connection. Right. My mentor who changed my life forever, Jeremy Pogue, loved his strategies, loved his techniques. But the thing that made me want to get on a call and hire him was he did 75 hard, which is like a mental toughness challenge for those of you who do or don't know about it. I was in the middle of 75 hard when I saw his YouTube videos. When I saw him talk about 75 hard, I was like, this is my guy. I'm going to hire this dude. And he got my money above all the other coaches. So for you guys, what are those pillars? And then what are some bullet points under those pillars that you can actually talk about in your content? So whenever you go make a piece of content, it's going to be on this. So go ahead, take some time, write those pillars, write some bullet points. We don't have to do it right now because I do want to get through this and get questions. Now, the final part is execution. How do we execute on this stuff? So here's the easiest way to do this. I'm going to stick, by the way, I'm only going to talk about Instagram right now. I'm not talking YouTube or I'm talking mostly Instagram, short form. But here's what I'd recommend you do. And by the way, you don't have to do this. I'm open to someone doing something different. But what I'd recommend and what I've seen work really well is when you pick your specific content style. What I mean by that is don't try to do all of them. But again, guys, if you choose to do all of them, that's fine with me. Don't worry about it. Right. But I would recommend, to make your life easier, either do reels, talking head reels, text carousels, B-rolls, plus, by the way, plus stories. Stories, in my opinion, I don't think you get to choose. I think you've got to do stories. And I'm going to explain why. So what I mean by this is I don't recommend, but again, you guys do whatever you want. I don't recommend you try to do, I'm going to do reels, carousels, and those B-rolls. I'm going to do all of it. It's like, dude, you know what you should do? You should just focus on one of them and master it because they all work. They all work. Just pick one of them, though, and just be like, that's the thing I'm going to do. And by the way, they all work really well, but in my opinion, I still think the talking head is the best, especially nowadays. You know, everyone's got the yapping content going on where they're just like getting on the thing yapping and stuff, like unplanned. I think that's the best way to do it. It creates the most trust. You can put the most information and content and value in there. But if you're like, I'm going to go all in on text carousel, so that'd be great. Or if you're like, I'm going all in on this, just the B-rolls, bro. I'm just doing B-rolls. Bro, I'd be like, dude, good for you, bro. I've literally seen people grow their businesses and they only just do B-rolls. It's like fire. You could do it. Now, the other thing is stories. I have realized, and this is I think I've shared this with you guys. It could be in the course. the CEO of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, literally shared that where the most amount of time spent on the platform is on Instagram stories. Instagram stories is the number one platform on Instagram or placement. They've got stories, reels, the feed, you know what I'm saying? DMs. Stories is the number one placement. It's stories, feed, reels. So we are all heavily missing the boat by not developing an Instagram story strategy. Heavily missing the boat. By the way, stories can be seen by non-followers. I don't know how. I don't know. I've never seen nobody's story that I don't follow, I think. But when I look at my little stories, sometimes I'm like, I see the percentage. I sound like such an old head right now, I feel like. I see the percentage of like non-followers. Like I'm looking right now. Yeah, like okay, so I posted okay, that was with my friend. Let me find a different one. Okay, that one had 0%. Hold on, let me look at another one. Oh, that one also did. Well, I just looked at my stories on my main page and they're all 100% follows. Oh, here we go. So I have a story on my Lee Nathan Lippin Instagram. I'm looking at it right now. It says 92% followers, 7% non-followers. That's not a lot, but I'm sitting here being like, non-followers see Instagram stories? Probably some room for growth there. So I'll share with you what I do for Instagram stories if you'd like. I basically just divided it up into a few categories and then just plan it out. So I've got 4 different types I'm doing: personality stories, documentation stories, social proof, and CTAs. Personality is simply stories that make people like you, not just for your information. Documentation is like, these are the stories when you document your real life business progress and journey. Social proof, client results. That's easy. And then CTAs is basically like where you want people to do something. DM me for this lead magnet. DM me to book a call. I have this many spots. That's a CTA. If you can come up with a good, robust content, and by the way, you know what I'll do for you guys on this document? Let me copy and paste all of these into here so that you have those too. I'll do that in a sec. And then you can see I have ideas. Like, for example, I went to visit Moss Beach where we're having the retreat. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do a Moss Beach visit one. And I made a story sequence about it. Right? If we look at my Instagram story right now, I think the one I'm doing now is your current content strategy. So I was like, okay. So I just was like, I'm just going to grab one picture. That's all I'm doing, one pic. And I'm just going to type out some thoughts that I have. Like I put no thought into it, no planning, raw cuff texting, journaling. I've recently changed what I do for my content and I'm just talking. Right? That's all I'm doing. I'm just literally outletting my emotions and just then I kind of have like a little bit of a CTA where I'm talking about the masterclass I'm doing right this second. And then I had a poll to get interest from that. So now it's kind of building some anticipation for when I drop this training as a YouTube video, right? Coming up with a story strategy and being consistent. The next thing to do is, and I'm going to show you guys how I do this in real time. Make your schedule. Schedule this stuff, right? Sorry. Schedule this stuff. How often are you going to post? What are you going to post? When are you going to prep? When are you going to create? When are you going to hit publish? Trust me when I say this. It is way more important that you come up with a strategy that you can actually sustain for a long time than trying to do a high quantity. Like when you just randomly are like, you know what, I'm feeling a spurt of inspiration. I'm just going to go ahead and rip a bunch of content. Like that's great. That is great. Obviously, when inspiration strikes, answer the call. But that's not going to help you create a sustainable business. What's going to help you create a sustainable business is I post 3 times a week here, here, here. This is my content strategy. This is what I do. This is what I stick to. I can sustain it for a long time. So for me, I'm going to do what works for me. And what I've realized works for me, 3 times a week Instagram, daily stories. And right now, you guys know I'm doing my daily YouTube challenge, which is ridiculous and insane. So I'm doing 60 days of YouTube in a row. I don't recommend it for anybody, by the way. It's tough. So When you look at my calendar, the little red ones, that's the IG stories. The little purple ones are the reels. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to post on Monday? This IG reel. And I already had it scripted. This one, I didn't have it scripted. I had to script it kind of on the fly. And if you guys go back to the 10K a month organic workshop, I'm using DFY Reels. This is how I make my stuff using this service, right? So I can answer questions here in a minute, but my point is it's really important. And this is the power we're going to have you guys do it like right now, real quick for a couple of minutes. All I want you to do, we're going to come up with these one by one. Ready? Pick your style. How often will you post? And what will you post? Meaning, like, how many times a week are you going to post your reels, your stories? When are you going to prep? And when are you going to create? So, what I mean by that is for me, usually it's Sundays during my weekly strategy session. Usually it's Sundays. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come up with like my content for the week. And I write down all my YouTube titles. And I'm like, all right, what are my 3 Instagram videos going to be? And I'll go to DFY Reels, right? I'll go to DFY Reels and I'm like, cool, let me go talking educational storytelling. I'm like, all right, bet. Let me go find 3 of them and I'm going to use those. You know what I mean? I'm going to go find 3 of them and use those. What are my IG story sequences going to be? I'm going to go into my little Trello. I'm like, all right, what am I about to do now? What are my next weeks going to be? Right? And then I'm like, okay, well, I've got the link to my Trello. I'm going to make an event on my calendar. And like that day, I'll know what I'm going to post. So what day are you going to do those things? All right, that's it for the mega marketing workshop. At this point, you should have a very clear understanding as to what your brand is and how to execute on it effectively so that you can grow your business, so that you can get your ideal clients to trust you, know you, like you, trust you, obviously, on the internet, but without you getting burnt out, without you wasting a ton of time. So I'm, super excited to see what it is that you end up building with your brand. And of course, I'm always honored to serve and support you on your journey. And I'll see you on the next one.